Usual MMA stuff out of the way, let's talk about the Snyder Cut.
Yes.
Damn good.
Yes. It finally came, and boy, did it deliver.
4 hours.
4 fucking hours.
It was very good.
It was
Very,
brilliant.
He's a good storyteller, and especially, I think Zack Snyder, in a lot of his films, visually, he has everything worked out, and then simply everything is worked out the way his mind has constructed it to be so.
The fans fought for it. They petitioned for it. They argued for it. The power of the fans, the power of the internet prevails, man. Just Zack Snyder took a flack of shit for a while. Like, so much crap.
Now Joss Whedon's going to take a lot.
Yeah, Josh Whedon's going to take a lot. Warner Bros. Is going to take a lot. I've seen remember that meme I showed you from The Social Network where it's Andrew Garfield's character saying, I'm not just coming back for 30%, I'm coming back for everything.
Yeah.
And not even that, but there's like, because it was 6 parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like part 7, restore the Snyderverse, or what's the other one? Then it's like Aquaman, he's pointing at the Flash, and Aquaman is, Zack Snyder fans and Warner Bros. Is going, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because...
It was just unfortunate. I think Zack Snyder's daughter actually died. It was
Really?
I think that's what happened. I think I will fact check this, but I believe the reason why that they were raising money for suicide prevention was because that was related to the tragedy. So I think Zack Snyder's daughter actually died, and that caused him to pull out naturally, right? It's not his fault, and it's no one's fault, right? Whose fault it is Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon fucked that movie up hard.
Yeah, he butchered it. Absolutely butchered it. Like, there was so many big differences between the Zack Snyder version and the Justice League version. So let's talk about it. First of all, they got rid of that cheesy dialogue. Some of the one-liners in the Joss Whedon's Justice League was just... it wasn't even funny. It was just awkward at times. Secondly, they used Cyborg and Flash so fucking well. Cyborg and Flash really, really got to show.
Cyborg tied the movie really well together, and his relationship with his father. Yeah. Now, in the first Justice League, it was kind of implied that he did not like his father, right? But we never got to see that kind of relationship. Cyborg's relationship with his father and how and with his mother, unfortunately, kind of tied the movie together really well. Cyborg actually, he was kind of the core of the movie. Instead of Batman or maybe Superman being the core of the movie, tying the team together, I believe it was Cyborg. Cyborg tied it. And I did check then. Yeah, Zack Snyder's daughter actually died from suicide. Yeah, she was 20 years old. So that's why they were trying to raise a lot of awareness. And at the start of the movie, it said For Autumn.
Yeah,
which
that's
was
right.
Autumn was Zack Snyder's daughter that unfortunately died. Rest in peace to her. That's really, really unfortunate.
His wife was the producer.
Yeah. It was really interesting how their family produced this movie, and I believe it was incredible. And now some people had their gripes and groans and things like that, and what was interesting was I looked up, after watching it, I was like, I bet everyone would loved it. Yeah. So many news outlets were saying, and so many critics were saying, it's a longer Justice League, but not better. Everyone said how shit the new Justice League was, the Snyder Cut. And I was like...
Well, they can go suck a fat one then.
I thought it was brilliant. Now, the pacing with the first maybe hour and a half was a bit funny.
Okay, yeah.
The pacing was a bit funny, but they needed to... There was so many when you have so many working characters that haven't had their own standalone films yet, you have to give them a little bit more of a backstory rather than just imply their origin or imply their backstory. When you're able to show that and weave that through together, I love how that they showed the Flash's relationship with his dad. There was so many working relationships together that you had to have a setup. You had to have a setup with Cyborg's relationship. You had to also talk about what happened with Trevor. What was his name? Steve Trevor?
Yeah, Steve Trevor, yeah.
With Wonder Woman, how she lost that person. Had to talk about Batman and his kind of like newfound personality and motivation as well. Then as guilt, to see his guilt as a powerful motivator. And then we got to see the weave through, with Steppenwolf's relationship with Darkseid. How
that was impressive.
I thought it was really amazing that they also brought in, they actually dropped the word anti-life equation.
Yeah.
It was amazing how they were able to use so many different Easter eggs and mold it together.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah,
I thought it was a really well done job.
Not even that, but they brought in Darkseid as well, and Darkseid doesn't really do much, but already you fear him as well because you see parts of him.
I think the best thing about Zack Snyder's Justice League is not just the way he tells a story, it's visually and hearing wise. The voices need to be really well suited. Like the Darkseid's voice, deep and otherworldly and dark.
Yeah,
then you've got
it's like a drone voice.
Yeah, and then you've got Stephen Wolf's, which is much better than the originals.
Yeah.
And it's again otherworldly, and there's I actually want to watch the movie again.
Yeah.
And because it was 4 hours, I wonder why they don't make more 4-hour movies. Now I know
that's a lot of work, isn't it?
It is a lot of work, and it'll probably take more time. They've got a higher budget, right?
Yeah.
But arguably, when you have a movie, oh my ears just popped. Arguably, when you have a movie like that, or most movies in general, even the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Endgame, the amount of scenes they've probably cut from Endgame, even though that was a long movie, they've probably cut a serious amount of scenes, right? To have I believe it was 3 hours and 52 minutes, right? They've used a lot of footage really well.
Yes.
And they arguably could have made maybe 3 hours and 30 minutes. But like, are you really going to gripe over 20 extra minutes? No. We would more be upset if it's a 4-hour movie and really could have been 2.
Yeah.
That's what would be silly if the pacing's all weird.
Yeah.
But
there was a lot of stuff that was included in the trailer for the first Justice League movie that didn't make it into the Joss Whedon cut, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I loved that scene when Cyborg's like playing football.
Yes, visually very good.
And then they visually goes through Cyborg losing his body to Cyborg, losing his mother to Cyborg, gaining control of his powers to understanding his powers. That was just so smooth by the way it went along. And my other favorite part that just blended so well was that moment when fucking Flash went back in time. Like, visually, it was so stunning, because the biggest criticism I had about Justice League was Joss Whedon. When they're fighting inside that power plant Russian area, where there's all this sickly, comically, like, orange and red and yellow going on around each other. And then there was a little bit of humor when that part when Superman, she carries a whole building and Flash saves that family. It felt like it was just pointless, and
it was pointless because this family, we don't know them, there's no relationship, there's nothing to it, right? You've used a lot of time to spend on this family that gets saved for 5 minutes and that's done. It was wasted. I felt like Snyder Cut, although it was longer, had the fat trimmed and just showed a nice moving plot that moved really well, and the relationships between each other worked really well.
That scene where he goes back in time was like Flashpoint, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was.
He just talks to himself, okay, Barry, you got to go quicker than the speed of light. You got to go now.
I like that. I like to see, I think they did Barry Allen justice because they were able to show him having an awkward personality, right? But then actually be a hero rather than just saving people. He actually saved the Justice League, and he was able. I like to see when he was upset and he was stressed, and he went, "You got to break your rule, Barry. You got to break your rule." I thought that was such a cool scene.
Yeah, that music that went behind it as well.
It was. It's just visually and sound wise as well. Like the audio wise, really, I honestly want to watch it again.
Yeah,
and that's what's good about it. Maybe Endgame, I might not want to watch again because I feel like I've watched it and it's done. The Justice League movie, I felt had so much information, so many just little Easter eggs that I'd love to watch it. I found myself watching the last 5-minute ones on YouTube because I loved seeing the alternate reality where he's talking to Joker.
Yeah.
And Joker says, as long as you've got this card.
Yes.
Then
that scene was really, really well done.
Which is funny because in that other scene, they show the Joker card and it's torn in half.
Yeah.
It's very interesting talking about Harley Quinn, and they talked about Robin.
That's right. So they set it up in a world. Well, that was one of the biggest things that they had to solve, was because in Batman versus Superman, Batman looks at Robin's old suit and it's ha ha ha, you let your family die. and because Joker killed Jason Todd, and then he becomes back as Red Hood, and then in Batman vs Superman, Batman goes, "Oh, come on, Alfred, how many good guys are left in Gotham? At least how many stayed that way?" But they actually released
that it's not Jason Todd; it's actually Dick Grayson.
Really?
It's actually Dick Grayson. Zack Snyder made it clear it's actually not Jason Todd.
Really?
It's Dick Grayson.
Okay, well that makes sense then.
So he's not just it's not just killed. Essentially, Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing.
Yeah.
But before he becomes Nightwing, he's actually killed by. So they've actually done it in a different way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
That's a smarter way. Well, that's an interesting way of doing it. But just that stuff was just hinted. It wasn't really actually talked about. And then you have the Joker and Batman actually engaging in some dialogue with each other. It was so well done. I feel like Jared kind of just revived his character a little bit because he was so pissed off that so much Joker footage was cut from Suicide Squad.
It definitely redeemed his character. Yeah. I don't think he was a bad Joker, right? Yeah. I just felt you can't really make a good judgment on him because so much stuff was cut out of Suicide Squad and things like that. Now, what was interesting and a little bit sad was it's taking a little bit of an injustice theme molded with Darkseid because the injustice line is that when actually Joker sets up Superman actually to kill Lois.
Yeah.
He actually kills Lois, and Lois was actually pregnant with child.
Yeah.
Which is what we saw in the we actually zoomed in and panned in that she had a pregnancy test, so she's obviously pregnant with Superman's child. And it looks like that's going to be set up now. When you look at the last final bits, it shows Darkseid is walking behind and actually in the Batcave because you can see Robin's suit is in the background.
Yeah.
So Joker is essentially set up, I believe, that Lois dies in the Batcave so that Batman and Superman, they're pitted to be against each other under Darkseid's rule. And it looks like unfortunately, it's really sad, but it looks like Superman's actually holding dead Lois. Like Lois has actually died in an explosion or fire or something like that because it doesn't really quite resemble a body anymore.
Mm-hmm. But not even that. But then
it's so dark. It's bad when it's dark.
Barry back in time though, and they touched on that because in Batman vs Superman, Flash goes back in time, and to warn Batman, saying Lewis is the key to everything, and they talk about it. I was like, finally, they actually mentioned it up and all that. And then they had the nightmare scene, and then Batman wakes up, and then, he has that other dream, and then Martian Manhunter showed up. So they used him, they just teased him, which I thought was fine, and now he's, again, expand the League. Maybe, I don't know, if we get Justice League 2, then Darkseid sort of comes to Earth, and then preparing for it. That it's just...
They do have to have the issue with Deathstroke now because there's so much information, right? Because they also said his name is Bruce Wayne, and then you've got Death.
Because they didn't do that in the first one.
Yeah, because then you've got Deathstroke. Although we see Deathstroke's possibly going to be a villain in the future, however, he wasn't so much a villain he was part of the new Justice League that was in that nightmare scene.
Yeah.
In the future, and the interesting thing I found interesting was that Joker said, how many alternate realities are you going to, create and things like that. Essentially, the Flash is heading back in time, trying to talk to Bruce. Bruce is understands that he just doesn't take much account of this. It doesn't seem to work. And now in this alternate reality, Batman actually has to do something other than send Flash into the past. Mm-hmm. He has to do something to actually fight Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously we saw Darkseid killed Aquaman. We saw his Omega beams.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think Darkseid will be a very interesting villain, and I like him a lot. He makes Thanos look like a good guy.
Yeah, he's
just the embodiment of evil and anti-life.
He just looks more vicious, and I hope they explore his character just a little bit more, just, in the next one, if there is one. But come on, man. Like, Warner Bros., own up to your mistake. Let Zack Snyder take more control. Let him do his justice. He's deserved it. He's won back the fans. Like, because I said to you, this is the second highest DC rated movie. First place was The Dark Knight. Second place is now Snyder Cut, and the critics love it. The fans love it. It's what we wanted. Anyway, finish us off. Not even that, but on the Thursday it was the Snyder Cut. Friday was Falcon